In this video we're going to look at the pruning saw, or sometimes known as a folding saw. This is a good tool to use if you're cutting fairly small pieces of wood, maybe larger than you would cut with a pair of loppers, but not huge logs. The pruning saws, as you can see, are quite small. This is a very small one. You can get larger ones. If you try to cut a piece of wood that's too big, you'll end up taking a long time and it will be very tiring. So same rule applies. If the tool's not doing the job that you expect it to do, then you're probably using the wrong tool. These pruning saws come in a little plastic case. These are silky pocket boys because they fit in your pocket. You can get bigger ones, as I say, but make sure that when you remove them from the case, you put that somewhere that you can find. Those are really easy to lose in the woods. And when we are traveling around the woodland with the tools, they're either going to be in the case, or if we're walking with them, then again, down by the side, so that the blade is folded, but it is also facing down towards the ground, and it's walking, not running. When we're looking at these tools, it's important to monitor them and make sure they're in good condition, just the same with all of the tools. So any moving parts should be oiled, lubricated, make sure that you've got no cracks or damage to the blade or to the handle, and make sure that the catch is working. It's really important with these folding saws that you can fold them up and keep the blade safely folded away when you're not using them. Once we've done our checks, the same rules apply as all of the other tools. There's a glove on the non-working hand. This is the working hand, so it doesn't need one. We're aware of our safety bubble around us. There's no one else in the area. We've got this specific setup for sawing with this log here. And we're going to cut this piece of hazel, which you can see is about the diameter of a 2p piece or slightly bigger. So this is probably the maximum kind of diameter that you'd want to cut with a pruning saw. Anything bigger than this, you'd probably be thinking about moving on to a bow saw. So onto our log, and this is a nice stable log, nice and big, which isn't going to wobble or move when we're trying to saw. And my knees are going to be out of the way of the line of the saw. So when we unclip the saw, you can hear that it clicks into place. And with always thinking about that line, that blade, where's that going to go if we do slip? We want it to go to the side of our body, not into our knee. So make sure you're thinking about where your knees are. And it can be really useful to bring a kneeling mat, especially for the children, so it just keeps them off the ground and a bit more comfortable. So once we've got set up, we're making sure that we've got our gloved hand on the log, just holding that safe and not too close to where we're going to be cutting. These saws can jump around, so just make sure that your hand is far enough away from the blade. The best way to start is do a few back strokes to get that groove, and then once we've done that, we should be able to go through fairly quickly. We do slip around sometimes. So don't rush it, don't push too far. It just should go through nice and easily. If you start to notice that the saw doesn't cut effectively, it probably means that the blade is becoming blunt, and it means you probably need to replace it. As soon as we've finished, we're going to press the little catch on the top. All of these pruning saws have different catches, so make sure you know how yours folds up and puts away, and then the blade will fold back into the handle before we put that back away in its packet. And you can see that's a nice clean cut that we've gone through the hazel there. So that is how to use a folding saw or a pruning saw at Forest School.